It seems like I like the Greatsword in every single game except for Monster Hunter. In fact, my favorite video game weapon of all time is Artorias' Greatsword from Dark Souls 1. I even own a replica of the sword in real life. Here's a photo, I'm not lying. But I never really got the hang of this weapon class in Monster Hunter, despite it being the weapon class I literally play in every Souls game ever. But then chat forced me to play it during a live stream, and I tried it, and I really liked it. In fact, I liked it so much that I dedicated an entire stream with practicing with this weapon. I'll even show you the exact moment in that stream where I decided that I want to play this weapon for the rest of my life. That doesn't seem half bad. 2,500 damage? That's gotta be considered a war crime. I know I'm late to the party, but I wanted to wait this long so that I could first understand the weapon so that I can then talk about it. And my friend, this Greatsword video is just nuts. So let's have a chat about the Greatsword highlights that I've seen in the videos released within this last week. Right off the bat, this weapon-based design looks insane. I love the rustic and rough aesthetic that goes into this weapon. Just looks so nice. Really seems like a healthy mix of fantasy with that grounded reality that Monster Hunter is known to have. Hats off to whoever is making the weapons around this game, because not only this Greatsword looks incredible, but also after seeing that charge blade, I am really curious to see how good the rest of the weapons are gonna look. We don't see an awful lot of new stuff. For those of you who know the Greatsword, you'll see that charging and, you know, a couple of other follow-up moves such as the tackle and this roll move that you do with the sword is quite normal. This block shot just looks like a fucking movie poster. I mean, that is awesome. But let's take a look at the moment of this showcase that made me have to change my underwear. This counter is insane. The visual effects, the noise it makes, it just looks so meaty, dude. Plus the follow-up that it gets where you do 2 quick strikes, just, oh, the icing on the cake, truly. I remember when the surge combos were added to Sunbreak, I looked at them and I was like, damn, quick move options for a slow weapon? That is really cool. And seeing something so similar in Wilds is actually really encouraging because it further adds to the fact that, no, Greatsword is not actually a slow, clunky weapon. It's also going to be really interesting to see if you're going to have other follow-up options that don't include using this 2-hit slash. Everyone's talking about focus mode, but not necessarily about focus stance. What I mean by this is that when you go into focus mode, your character will usually go into a stance depending on what weapon you're playing. Now, the stance that you take with your Greatsword here is actually incredibly familiar to the Greatsword stance that you take in Dark Souls 3, which if you haven't caught on yet, is a big deal for me. It looks really badass, like you're really just squaring up to the monster ready for whatever it may throw at you. And the fact that you may follow it up with so many amazing moves, oh, it just looks so promising. The focus strike as well was shown here on the showcase, but it seems like it was also shown in other videos. We can see that you have this awesome side strike where you scrape the blade along the monster. It just looks so cool. But in an earlier video, which I believe is the focus mode dedicated one, you actually see the hunter strike from above. Having this sort of directional input is actually incredible because it adds to the flexibility that is already being given to the Greatsword. But then reaching the final point of this whole thing is this incredible sort of standoff move that we saw back in the original trailer. The Greatsword has always been known as the powerhouse of Monster Hunter, and seeing it just go head to head like this, it gives me goosebumps, man. I don't know what to tell you. But now that I actually play the weapon and I understand the mechanics behind it, this showcase and the other pieces of content that we've been getting towards the Greatsword in the last week have been nothing short of amazing. I just cannot wait for the day that I go to Gamescom and hopefully get to try out that Greatsword firsthand because it looks awesome. But that's enough for me today, fellas. Stay safe, and until we meet again.